New Challengers #1, the latest in the New Age of DC Heroes line. This is Scott Snyder, although it's not just Scott Snyder. Scott Snyder apparently only did the plotting because Aaron Gillespie is also credited as a writer. So I'm assuming that it's Snyder's plot, and then he came in
Just
and...
even before we get to anything in the issue,
Oh, go on.
I think the most interesting thing about this book to me is that the writers are credited first.
Oh, really?
Instead of the artist. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
which is
how do
unlike
you look
all
at
the
the
other
art?
books.
Yeah, for relevance, that's because all... I mean, that's not normally weird. It's only weird in this sense because the rest of this line have been artists
I
first.
should say, the art still got the title credit on the cover, but just on on the credits itself in the book, it says
Okay.
writers and pencils rather than what has traditionally for this has been the storytellers, and they've got the joint credit for this line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna not bury the lead, and it's because the art's not that great. This is not great Kubert work. So
It's not awful.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It felt a little bit...
in a line, yeah.
It
go
felt,
ahead, Pete.
it felt a little bit New 52 to me, was my main problem with the art. But I didn't hate it. It wasn't bad art, necessarily.
I mean, I think a problem with some oversized lips on, here and there, but I don't hate it. It's fine. It's perfectly serviceable.
Outside of the Terrifics, this entire New Age of Heroes feels New 52. Like you call it the New 52 Age of Heroes.
Joe, it's funny
Go
because before I give my opinion on this, I want to point out that I'm seeing a lot of different buzz online. I'm seeing a lot of people online who have said this is the best of the New Age Heroes books. They like this the most. I have to ask what the hell those people are smoking, because
Yeah.
I did not really like this that much, if at all.
I'm gonna outright say this was terrible. This might be the worst thing I've read in 2018.
Connor disagrees. I'm seeing Connor's face.
I don't love it.
but-
By no means do I think it is the best of this line.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think it's all right. I don't hate it at all.
I don't.
So-
Do I think it's the worst? What else have we had?
Brimstone, damage.
Okay,
I
Brimstone.
didn't read
Yeah.
even Damage though.
No, I
Damage
like
was not
Brimstone
bad.
more than this.
Really?
I didn't read Brimstone.
Sorry,
So-
you guys are gonna have to talk me through this because
I
I don't
so-
I don't see an amazing book here, but I don't see a bad book.
No,
I don't think it's the
here's
worst
the
thing ever, but I just like by the end of this issue, I feel like they've done nothing to sell me on what this book is, who these characters are. I feel no connection to any of
literally
them.
Don't care. I don't care about any of the mysteries. Like in here, I don't care about any of these new characters. I don't care about this new Challengers Mountain. So coming into this, I had a vague touchstone with the new Challengers. Like I had known they're essentially the I don't want to say Fantastic Four because it's kind of Terrifics, but like they serve the purpose of Fantastic Four. They see something that's going on strange in the world, and they go to meet it head on. You know, they touched on this in the phenomenal New Frontier from Darwin Cook. Like anytime something weird was happening, this group called the Challengers would come in and try to fix it. Here they completely flip that over, and they add some weird hourglass thing to them, like timestamp that I don't understand.
I didn't have a problem with that. I
yeah,
quite like
that's-
that concept of like, okay, you're
Yeah.
dead, but here you go, you've got an hourglass where
I don't
out
necessarily.
in the real world you have until it runs out.
Yeah, I don't necessarily dislike that as a concept. My problem with this issue, well, I have a few problems. One is that I don't feel like I get to really know who the characters are. There's one character gets like a flashback to like what was happening with her in Gotham right before she came
Right.
here, but the rest of them I don't get any sense of. I couldn't tell you any of their names. Like I don't remember any of
I
their
can
names.
neither, but
I
I think it's slightly unfair to say that's the only character that gets something because we start off with one of them before they get to the mountain in the plane.
Yes.
That's the start
Yeah,
of
but
the issue.
that's not one of the main characters though, because that character is that character that gets dumped out the plane. Is that
Yeah.
what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that they don't show up here.
That's not one of them.
But I think that's like I'm saying. It's not the only thing that we get a flashback of. We're getting other things.
Well, that's actually the other complaint I have, is that I think this issue overdoes the, that's before, now, 3 minutes ago. Like, it does a little
Yeah.
bit too much jumping around in the time, when I don't necessarily think it needed to do that.
And like they try to tie it into DC continuity, not continuity, but the creative DC universe with adding a Spiral guy, and I was like, okay, cool. I know Spiral. Like
Yeah, that's fine.
This
That's a
is
fine
cool.
idea. Yeah.
yeah, and then they kill him like 2 pages later because he wants to go back. And I understand you have to set the stakes with the hourglass thing, like they can't leave.
Establishing the rules.
Yeah, do you know what? That's my other big problem, is that I don't think this issue does enough to actually clearly like. I feel like instead of feeling like it's an introduction to this concept, it's lots of exposition just quickly in there because it feels like it needs to get through it all very quickly. I feel like no, you introduce the core ideas so that they're not overwhelming, and then add to it in future issues. I think it jams too much in. And honestly, that whole thing with like having him die to sort of prove that like what's going on, that is very Suicide Squad.
It is.
It's very.
Here's the
7th Suicide Squad member. Here's Slipknot, who's just here to show that the bomb in the neck's going to work. Like
I did think that myself as well. But
why do that with the Spiral guy? Like like.
I think that's the point. I assume that's the point anyway. Of hey, you know this one, so you assume they're the safe. Well, I mean, you don't know him personally, but you know Spiral, so you assume they're safe.
Yeah, but even then, I was just kind of like the way he was acting automatically. I was just like, well, no, he's expendable. Like, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna make those DC's Expendables, like that would be cool. You know,
yeah.
Like.
They
took it in a direction I'm just not a fan of. I wanted this to go the pulpy.
Yeah, you were thinking
Challenge
pulpy.
Of the Unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah, and instead I got this weird sci-fi one that I don't care about anything in here.
I think for me is I agree it's overwritten and a lot of exposition. The thing is I like what the concepts are. Like I like, as you know, Matt's like, oh, I didn't really want that in the book. For me, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm down for those ideas once we get into the storytelling. So it makes this not a particularly good issue on its own right, but as a proof of concept, I feel like well enough.
Yeah, but I feel like they saw this issue and went, okay, this is only a mini. I don't think we can get much more out of this.
Yeah,
it feels like a very fuzzy concept.
I don't think when they pitched this originally, and when they were all announced, this was not announced as a mini. That's something that's just happened recently, and I feel like that was a choice that was made somewhere along the way.
I agree, but I don't think it's based on the quality of the narrative. I think that was Snyder saying, "I'm too busy. I can, I
don't though, because I feel like he initially had a different idea with what we had in Metal. Like if you're talking about those challengers where you had Carter Hall and Shayera, or not, what was her name? Kendra. You had Kendra and all that, and then the mountain disappeared, and this doesn't even really pick up on any of those ties. Like it's just a mountain in the Rockies.
We have this shady character who's kind of running the place, and he has that same sort of object that the villain with the bandages at the start was going after.
Yeah.
That could be him, but I don't know. The cover implies that guy's got a really messed up face, so I'm assuming it's not. But like I don't know. I'm not feeling that character. I'm not feeling the mysteries. It had that very kind of forced first issue, very New 52 feeling to me, and I don't know. I have no interest in reading any more of this. I have to be honest.
Me neither.
I get that other people like it. I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter saying they like this, and this is one of their favourite New Age books. That's great. I'm glad you like it, but damn, I
don't understand it, but
feel
cool.
it at all.
I'm glad.
No, that's fair enough. Like I said, I don't think it's an amazing issue, but I like the concepts it's establishing enough that I probably won't read it monthly, but since it's only 6 issues, I think I will grab the trade and read through it all.
For me, when you've got a team of like 5 or 6 characters going into like these, like fighting these giant monsters and stuff, I need to like get the team vibe from those characters. I need to like instantly feel like we're building a sort of like family or team book between them, and I don't get that at all from any of these characters.
No, I agree. It's not doing that, but I think for me, it's going the other route and taking, okay, here's the concept, here's the plot, and the characters here almost don't matter, right? They're just, okay, these are the ones we've got right now.
I don't think the plot's interesting enough to justify doing that. I think you can do that when it is a plot first book or a plot first story.
I don't know. We don't know what the plot exactly is yet, but the concepts it's establishing, the rules, I quite like. And
I don't know why this leader guy set them out in a life raft in the middle of a thing for a monster to take them out. Like, I don't get any of that. Like,
yeah, because of course one thing we didn't mention is that they all appear here because they all basically just died. They're all here in borrowed time. That's why they have this hourglass whenever they leave the mountain, their time runs out. But when they're inside the mountain, they're kind of fine. They're in like a paradox essentially. You're fine here.
Yeah, it's incentive to finish your missions quickly.
Yeah, for me there was just no hook. Like, but I got to the end of it, I'm like, there's nothing here that wants me. I don't have any interest in coming back for any more of this. So. Hate to be
I
super
got pretty
negative,
angry.
but
Halfway through this book, I got angry.
I don't know if I ever got angry. I think you hated it more than I did, Matt, but I did
Yeah.
not enjoy it. I did not
Well,
enjoy it.
Snyder did do the Shadow, right? He did the Batman Shadow.
That was
all
Snyder
last
and
one.
Orlando.
Okay. I'm just checking for these older concepts, so 'cause I don't know whether to blame Snyder or Gillespie on this one.
I
And I just think the
assume
word
with the
just
with the
wasn't-
Shadow, Snyder plotted similar to here and Orlando scripted. I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
So I again here Snyder's script plotted and Gillespie has scripted that. So I don't know if you blame him say Snyder for saying he should have done more to.
Joe, I get from this in terms of feeling. I feel like this has kind of just been shot out because some work was done on it, and we have to kind of make it feel like it was worth doing. But it's kind of this weird, just it's just there because it kind of it's been started, so it's just getting it out there. I feel like it's been kind of forgotten. The whole line in general kind of feels like that, where it's like at first it's like, oh, there's all these big things coming out of metal, we're going to build to all these things, and it kind of feels like, okay, a couple of the books will stick around because they're just good and they're on their own, they're fine, but it does kind of feel like, oh, we made this big push, so we'll put them all out, but we're kind of already given up on half of them.
No, that's true.
And this one kind of, I mean, they kind of admitted it with this one, by saying, oh, this is a 6-issue miniseries now.
Like I said, I think that that was all announced before Snyder was taking over Justice League and all of that. And I think he started working on Justice League and like, I'm too busy to do this. Here's my outline for an arc.
Yeah.
And handed that over to someone.
That may be the why. But ultimately the end result is I just, this issue wasn't doing it for me.
Fair enough.
And clearly not Matt either, because Matt, what are you rating that?
Oh, this is easily a 2.
Oh, jeez. This is going
Yeah.
really low. I don't know if I'd go quite that harsh. I'd say this is more like a 4 for me.
No. So I just to double check challengers. My the whole living on borrowed time wasn't a literal thing for the original challengers. It was because they all survived a plane crash. They all felt like they were living on borrowed time, and they wanted to pass that forward. So that's why they volunteered to go on these different missions. So while I appreciate this is called the new challengers and they're trying to do something new, just not man. Because I was so excited for this. Because we all know how I feel about pulpy adventure-y things. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for more pulpy sci-fi, fighting monsters and whatnot.
Yeah.
What are you giving it, Connor?
I'm giving it a 5.5. It's not a good issue, but I like the concepts enough that I will read it as a trade.